for our final segment, and thank you so much for staying tuned on Smart24 TV. Those of you who are viewing on DSTV and GOTV and on our YouTube live stream, we do appreciate the time and, of course, the attention you give to the station. Smart24 TV is a business channel, and we give you business content 24 hours, 7 days a week. My name is Anthony, and this is The Point. Now, Honorable Sheila, as we come to the close of the program, we want to talk about what should be done in this positive direction. First of all, by the policy makers. You are in the East African Legislative Assembly, a very critical point of meeting, especially when it comes to the East African matters being discussed. But on this level, even down to our parliament here in Uganda, what policies should be actually looked at critically if we are to safely go into the regional integration?
Thank you. I think if we are to go for serious regional integration, one of the things is we really need commitment from our governments. Because personally, being at the East African Community, in the East African Legislative Assembly, one of the things is that the East African community, when you look at the treaty, it is supposed to be private sector led and people centered. Those are the key principles, and we've failed to abide by that. It became politician led, heads of states led, and the Council of Ministers. So you find that it was really politicized right from the start. I think when we talked about fast tracking regional integration, immediately the politicians jumped onto it and said, I think we need a political federation. The political federation should have come at a much later stage. Yes, because one of the things that we really need to concentrate on is to make sure that money circulates. There is trade. Because money doesn't know, by the way, it doesn't know tribe, it doesn't know nationality. It is money. It's the dollar. When we're holding the dollar, we don't care whether we're Americans. It's the dollar, I mean.
And Honorable Kadaga, I'm sorry for intervening, but Honorable Kadaga is very passionate about this, and he's saying we need one currency for East Africa, and they're trying to have a central bank for the whole of East Africa. Do you think this is a move in the positive direction?
I think, to me, it's a move in the positive direction. Because when you're doing trade around Eastern Africa, even when you're traveling, just going around and as a tourist, just the changing of currencies is so prohibitive. Each time you change the currency, you lose money.
You lose a lot of money.
Yes. Yeah. So if I'm going to move from here, go via Kenya, then I'm doing some trade also with Tanzania, then I come via Burundi, then DRC, how much money would I have lost at the end of the day?
A lot.
So we need that single currency. The monetary union, to me, should have been the first thing that we fast-tracked. And opening up of goods, the movement of goods and services. And then also we need to take advantage of the digital, this technology. Yeah. Because right now you can send money and transact business without actually moving. So we need to really get into the digital mode. And the government should facilitate it, make it less expensive. Then we need to invest also in affordable transport, for goodness sake, crying out loud. It's so expensive. If I moved from here by road and go to Eldoret and start flying in Kenya, that's the cheapest than going via from Entebbe to Nairobi or Entebbe to Mombasa. If I just decided to hustle and drive across the border 3 hours, maybe I'm in Kisumu or what, and then I take my flight, I'll use $80. Yet if I fly from Nairobi to Mombasa, maybe I may go up to $600. So what kind of business is that? It doesn't make sense, business sense. So if we are looking at policies, we need to look at things that make it easy to move around the region. Transport is key. Telecommunication is key. We need to harmonize that.
Is the standard gauge railway in that direction as well?
The standard, of course. I mean, traveling by train would be the smartest thing these countries should have invested in. So that I just sit on my train and off to Dar es Salaam.
But you see, have you seen the challenges with the standard gauge railway? One part is finished in Kenya, and then Uganda lags behind, and then we finish our part, and then Kenya lags.
You see, we should have done it. If we did have all these intricacies of saying, to me, the East African community, it's like a club of some boys wanting to be like, okay, I participated in that, I am good and whatever, but not seriously thinking about the end producers, the people who need it. Because if that standard, the railway communication around, we knew the benefits, it should have been a project of the East African community.
Definitely.
Together with this whole oil exploration. Because we know it's going to benefit the region. Let it be an East African project. But everybody has their own chiefdom, and I won't call them kingsdoms. They are small chiefdoms. So everybody is a little chief somewhere, and they're not seeing the bigger picture. Because when you look at the United States of America, I think, how many states are there?
54.
54? How many states are in Africa? Around the same.
Yeah, close to the same.
Yes.
Yeah, 50.
We should have been a long time the United States of Africa, and all we need, we don't need this, I was going to use bad language, so we don't need all these intricacies of visas that I'm traveling. And
Nigeria,
when I travel to Kenya may be relatively, but they always ask me the question at the airport, how long are you here? There's a time I said, I'm an East African and I can be here for up to 6 months. The lady said, no. How long are you here? I said, I'm here for a meeting. How long? I said, oh, it will be done within 5 days. She wrote in my passport.
5 days.
5 days and stopped. I looked at her, I said, this, Tanzania, even it's worse. You prefer at least Kenya, Uganda. But when you go to some of these countries, it is really, the spirit of the East African community has not gone in, the technocrats and the politicians. So for me, I wish we go back to the drawing board, and the East African community, even the African Continental Free Trade Area, is driven by the traders, the business community. Private sector should have been giving us the lead. And then we recall that whatever the private sector is doing, government is overseeing for the interest of to benefit the people. Because we go back to the principle, private sector led and people centered integration.
Before we leave that point, the African integration, the AGOA treaty is ending in 2025. Has it yielded any fruits? The African Growth and Opportunity Act,
I know it.
Has it yielded any fruit? Because recently when we were looking at the African US summit, the US President Joe Biden was of the view that they renew it, and there was a debate amongst the African leaders saying, really, have we gained from it?
I think from the onset, I was one of the people who felt, did we need it anyway in the first place? What we needed is to promote trade within African states. There is enough market. I think they were giving us crumbs. I don't know what they were giving us, because eventually, right from when they were discussing the AGOA at the onset, it had holes in it. And it was more like, let's keep them in there. And, okukona, as we say, when food is not well done, you keep there. But I think, to me, we don't need AGOA. There is enough market within Africa to purchase what we. You look at the maize. How come that the maize sometimes it triples the price, yet we are only exporting to Kenya and maybe South Sudan? Just imagine if that maize went all the way to West Africa, to South Africa, because all these countries across the African region.
Last year we were importing from Zimbabwe, Zambia, Malawi to Uganda.
Can you imagine? And yet we can produce it here. So we don't need to sell our cotton and the shirts with all the restrictions. I wish you knew what goes on in those markets, those so-called sophisticated markets. The European Union and the United States of America. The restrictions they put on the products coming from Africa.
It's extreme.
They're extreme. And to me, it is to kill our markets. So why not trade with fellow Africans who, okay, our standards.
Who can bear with.
Yeah, I mean, as long for me, I will say, it is a shirt, yes. Is it covering my nakedness? Yes. Produced where? Uganda, made in Uganda, and I love it.
Thank you.
So we can still do our own trade here.
Thank you.
Without.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Mr. Jemba, just as we wind up the show, your message to the policymakers and the decision makers out there, because I know, like you mentioned, such a show should be watched probably by the ministers, the members of the Legislative Assembly in East Africa. What would be your message in as far as our regional and continental integration is concerned?
Yeah, yes, I'd like to add my voice to Sheila's. In fact, I'm wondering what Kadaga wanted for Parliament speakership this time. She's doing wonderful, extremely wonderful at ESC. If we had Kadaga at ESC for the last 5 years, I don't know where we would be. Not only Uganda, but the ESC in general.
I think she plays a very key role.
She doesn't fear to say what is right.
Yeah.
She's managing at that level in the best way any Ugandan minister has ever performed. So we are saying, what do we need in place? We need the carriers, the common carriers in place. This forex laws, you move around the ESC, you end up like you have been to Europe. The kind of laws you make, surely there are certain structures, there are certain sectors which are very important when it comes to this integration. Communication being part of it. Currently, you can easily communicate with Kenya, but not in Tanzania. A unity cost for call for Tanzania is between 1,500 to 2,500. In Kenya, you can call when you have a Ugandan line. Someone, a friend in Kenya, you can easily call using this mega bonus. You can't. That can't happen. If you have less than 1,000 shillings in Tanzania, you can't call anything. Interconnectivity from air flight to road transport, water and railway, especially railway. We need it yesterday, like yesterday, because the cost of transport is the highest in the region. On issues of governance, we need to harmonize in certain areas. We put at the forefront.
Term limits you want?
Well, I don't want to mention it. I don't want to be dragging into that kind of discussion.
Yes.
But we put level correction at the forefront. That wouldn't have been at the forefront. Like she said, or she hinted on, trading is key. Therefore, private sector should have been way ahead, because we are talking about private sector and economic empowerment across the ESC. That is why we as Kasita, in fact, we are saying, can we have a representative of the private sector at ESC level? Because ESC is meant to promote trade, not politics. The political federation would have been the last one after testing all the others. The customs,
monetary,
the common market. Because, like she said, money is money. I don't need to be a Kenyan to share money with a Kenyan. Whatever I pay to a Kenyan will welcome it. Our Waganda wamekuja Nairobi, wamekuja na dola. That is what they need. When they come to Uganda, vice versa. This is what we need. Rwanda closed borders. Do you know who suffered the most? We lost as Uganda. Rwanda suffered. At the end of the day, they had to open. Nobody should lie to you that Kagame was comfortable. Never. He was at pain. What was happening? So we are saying, if we can encourage ordinary Ugandans moving across freely, we don't need visas. As we head towards African Continental Free Trade Area, what are we taking at that level? As a country, we go back. This is the message I'd like to give to government and policymakers. We are signing protocols for African Continental Free Trade Area. What are we taking to African Continental Free Trade Area? It's not enough to append the signatures. But other countries, it's the reason why she was talking about AGOA, that we don't need AGOA. We are at the forefront. Who are the benefactors? What did we benefit? We lost everything we invested into that project of AGOA. Reasons we never started with the groundwork. Have cotton as it used to be during Amin's time. It was highly organized sector. Even during Obote 2 or Obote 1, Obote 2 somehow then if that sector was harnessed in the best way into cooperatives, I emphasize cooperatives, they are doing a great job. The issue of aflatoxins wouldn't have happened if we had that in place, because even to coffee it can happen. Clean harvest, silos and everything, the country will be benefiting. When Ugandans are comfortable, when Ugandans are benefiting from their hard-earned money, they have that disposable income. This economy is going to grow to bounds. But by that, if we don't have that disposable income, right now everyone is talking about poverty. And the issue, we should run away from what happened for the last 2 years because of the pandemic. The uniqueness of Uganda should be a challenge to us. How best can we move away from what happened?
And use our potential.
And use the potential to our opportunity.
Thank you,
and
Mr.
take the opportunity of the climate, kind of climate we have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jemba, for your submission there. And there you have it from us today. That was Mr. Jemba, who is the spokesperson of Kasita. And I also had Honorable Sheila Kawamara. I'm really sorry about that. But a very wonderful discussion here. Thank you so much for your submissions and insights. Really, really helpful. One of the things that stood out in the show, we talked about specialization as a market. We need to specialize where we are strong and have competitive advantage over others. And also logistics came out so keenly that we need to improve on our logistics and the quality of our work, the quality of our products, the quality of our systems at every level of production. That's it from us. My name is Anthony. I hope you enjoyed the show. Catch you next time. Bye for now.
Thank you. Camera.